Hello, I am going to present my first event for Geocultural challenges for globalization. So here's my table of contents for today. These are the four parts in which my presentation will be divided into. And I'm going to start by presenting myself. My name is Daniela Leo. I'm a first semester student of biomedical engineering, a wannabe photographer, and a coffee addict. So let's start with the introduction, the why, and the general context and overview. Okay, so I want to go to Montreal, Canada. There we can find the University of McGill that is really popular for because they publish many books for education and stuff like that, and it's all actually placed the 27th university in the world ranking. I really want to go there because it has the first biomedical engineering program in the whole Canada, and I also really have seen a bunch of videos and information about this university, and I quite like the environment there. And well, my history with Canada is the following. On 2012, I had the blessing of going there with my family for during the summer and learn a little bit about the culture and visit several cities. And one of the cities that I liked the most was Montreal. It's a city that it's really complex. I will talk a little bit more about that in the following slides. But after that trip, I believe that many things inside of me changed, including the desire to learn languages. And thanks to that trip, I started learning French. I'm really fluent right now. And there, I think that that trip opened up my eyes to the possibility that there are other ways of thinking and behaving other than what I was always thought and how the things were run here in Mexico and in Monterrey. Okay, so next, why would I want to go to Montreal? Besides from everything that I've already said, I think that there's a lot of diversity in Montreal, cultural diversity, people from all over the world. Canada is a really global country. I think that there are a lot of job opportunities there. I have researched quite a bit, and Canada is one of the top 5 countries for biomedical engineering development. And I also think that it's a really liberal country, that culture there is quite different from the culture that we experience here in Mexico. And that will help me to open up to new cultures and values. And I personally think that it's a really romantic place. Not in a little way, but in a way of it has a spice of its own. It mixes the new with the old, and it's avant-garde, but it still has a lot of tradition. So I really want to live there and feel it and live it for myself. Also, fun fact, I really love urban settings, and actually I had the blessing also to experience a whole summer in France in one of the cities that is located in the south. And personally, I thought the rhythm of life was way too slow for my perception. So I really like cities where things go fast and there's a lot of traffic and a lot of noise. And Montreal is in one of the most polite countries in the world, and I can find that. So yeah, I really want to go there. Okay, now here's a list of 6 intercultural skills that I wish to develop in my stay in Canada. The first one being conflict resolution, since I will be staying there all by my own and I would be living by my own for the first time. Creativity, because and flexibility, because I would be adapting to a new society. Foreign language skills, because well, Canada main languages are English and French. Diplomacy and sociability, because I would be living with people that have different values and mindsets different from my own. So that would be a really important factor for that. Okay, now let's talk about the what and the discussion of my proposal. So first, you can see in this map that where the purple dot is where Montreal is. It is located in the eastern part of Canada, and as I said, it's part of the Francophone sector. It is one of the cities that has most history, since it has things that date all the way back to the 1600s. And some of the dynamics of the borders is that Canada is divided by provinces instead of states, and Montreal is actually part of the province of Quebec, and that whole province is the one that has the Francophone and the French traditions and all of that. And well, the analysis that I did was of the country and the city in general. I didn't want to focus yet in the university because even though I would like to go to McGill, Tech doesn't have quite the range of programs right now, since the only ones that are open up are for the next summer, and with COVID it's a little bit difficult and confusing. So I'm going to wait, but I'll talk a little bit about that further on. So here are some of the things that make up the locale and some traces really interesting from Montreal. Well, the first thing that I want to start with is the most evident trace being the architecture. We can find buildings that date all the way back to the 1600s, as I said before, which could be the Basilica of Notre Dame that we can see in the bottom right corner, or the buildings found in the old Montreal that is like the center of the city. We can also find traditions as festivities like the Saint Jean Baptiste Day that is celebrated on July, or things that are more traditional right now, like could be the beaver tails. That it's that dish that we can see there. That is like a giant spread out churro with, and they bathe it like a waffle. The sense of place here, I think that people who live there really feel the magic in within the city. They can feel how the new meets the old and how they have a really avant-garde mindset, since they are really liberal in things like gay rights and abortion and stuff like that, but they still live in a place where there are a lot of traditions really impregnated within within the culture and within the country. Now, some of the rules that I found that in the country, I couldn't find quite the list of. These are the rules that you need to know if you are from other places. I would have to search a lot of the law, and I think that I could do that in the next step. But some of the interesting laws that I found was that anyone that wants to enter Canada and the province of Quebec should have the full vaccination scheme, and they should have a document that could prove that they have it. The legal age for renting a car, for renting, having a lease on an apartment, drinking out, or and everything is 18. That is the same here as Mexico. And a thing that I thought that was really fun was the red light, that you cannot turn right on a red light, which is sometimes the same as in here, but sometimes not. Okay, so what is the relationship with home? I think that Monterrey has a similar way of structure within the physical part of the city, that it has a center, it has the really historical part, and you can have the modern part all around it. However, in Monterrey, since the city is so spread out, the historical part stays only put in the center and it doesn't go all through the city, contrasting that what happens in Montreal. Another thing is that I think that the way that in Montreal it's a really important city for festivals and traditions and parties, it resembles a lot what Monterrey has in itself. And also, for example, the tradition with the beaver tails or another dish that is called poutine resembles a lot what we call like the Saturdays for carne asada. So it's a really parallel line that has a lot of differences, mostly in the mindset of the people, but it has a similarity with each other. Okay, now let's talk about how am I going to do this, which is my plan. Okay, so here some information that I will need to research is the requirements that I will need to enter Canada, which is if I will need a visa or whatever. Because right now they are not asking visas for people entering with Mexico. They are asking you for a permit that you have a valid reason to enter the country with like the COVID-19 laws and all of that. However, the requirements will change through the years, and since I'm not planning on going until 2024, the requirement might vary a little bit. Also, which are going to be the rules for me entering the country with all the pandemic situation. Now, one of the official languages of France is French, of Canada is French, and as I said before, the Montreal is in the Francophone part. And the interesting thing is that the French that they speak in Canada is actually called Quebecois, because the province of Quebec is where they speak French, but they speak it with a different accent than in France. It's like we're comparing the English from the United States and the English that they speak in Australia or in the UK. So I would have to start reading texts and seeing videos, music, listening to things and people speaking in Quebecois, because the pronunciation is different, the enunciation and everything. So I would need to get used to that part and variation of the language. And then I would have to research how the different seasons affect the city and the way that I should live my life there. Because we're used that here in Monterrey, we have two main seasons the whole year. We have the summer, which is very hot, and we have the winter, which might be very cold. But in Montreal, It's a city where you have the 4 different seasons present and they all vary a lot from each other. So I would have to research, okay, how cold could it get and what would I need to survive the cold? Or in the summer, how hot could it be? Could I stand it? Could I not? So I have to research a lot of that. And now this is my process of how I plan on dividing my dates. During the rest of this year, I will continue to research about McGill and see if I have read that Tech has partnerships with McGill, but I want to research a little bit more on that. And then on 22, start looking at the offer of semesters and years abroad. So my plan is to, and then on 2023, I would like to apply and in 2024 leave. What I would like to do is I want to be a whole year abroad and I would like to leave on the first semester of 2024 and go there as a student and live the student life there. And then on the last semester, 2024, start doing my professional practices there, since I will already be familiar with the city and the way of life. And during the first semester, I could start looking for jobs there and places where I can actually do my practices. So that is how I would like to spread out the process of me going there. Okay, so now my conclusion is, well, Montreal, as I have stated, is the place where I would like to go and where I would, for a large chunk of my life, I have wanted to go there. When I was learning French, I started saying that I wanted to go to France, but when I already had the opportunity to be there, I saw that yes, the culture is amazing, but many of the commodities that we have here, we cannot find them there. So I believe that Canada is we can say it as the European mindset, but with the Western commodities, and we have a lot of things here that I'm used to having. For example, the simple fact of having AC or having a fan. Well, yeah, it's a bit complex, but yeah. And so yes, this is the place where I want to go, and I will continue working my way until I am already there. And so thank you for watching my presentation. And here is my APA references. Thank you so much.